These are the materials we need for today's project. Starting with our yarn, we are using a super fine fingering weight yarn. This one is 100% cotton, and if you are going for more of a summery or vacation feel, then I definitely recommend 100% cotton. This one is specifically Lion Brand Pearl 5 out of 2 cotton cone yarn. It comes in a cone like this, and I've wound it up into a ball here. For my hook, I am using a 3mm hook, and I have some yarn snippers and a darning needle for weaving in my ends later. We're first going to start with a slip knot, put our hook through, and then we're going to chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we're going to treble crochet into that first chain. And you should have something like this. And this is the bottom point of our triangle, and we're going to continue expanding the sides out this way as we work through this tutorial. To start our next row, we're going to turn our work and chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we're going to make our first picot stitch into the third chain to the left of the treble crochet from the previous row. So we have the treble, then we have 1, 2, 3. And to make a picot stitch, all you need to do is a single crochet into that stitch to start, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and single crochet back into that same stitch where you did your initial single crochet for the picot start, like this. And you'll see that we created this little bump stitch, and that is your first picot stitch. There are a couple different ways that you can create a picot stitch, but for this project, I thought this method looked the best. Next, we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 2 stitches, and do a treble crochet into this third stitch. And you can see our triangle taking shape here. To start our next row, we're going to turn our work and chain 9. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we're going to do our picot stitch into the third chain or the middle chain within this first line of 5 chains from the previous row. And so that should be the third chain from the left or the right. It should be the same. So we go in right here, and to do our picot, we do a single crochet, chain 3, and single crochet into that same stitch. And we've made our first picot of the row. Then we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to do a picot stitch in the third chain to the left of this last picot stitch from the previous row. So that's this. We're going to do our picot by doing a single crochet, chain 3, single crochet all into the same stitch. To close out this row, we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going to skip 2 stitches and treble crochet into the third stitch right here. If you want to double check that you're going into the correct stitch, you can also count 4 stitches back from the end of the row. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do a treble crochet. And you can see our triangle taking shape. And all we're going to do is repeat what we just did until we get our triangle to the size that we want. Let's do a couple more rows together so we feel super comfortable with the pattern. So to start the next row, we're going to turn our work and we're going to chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to picot stitch into the middle chain within this first line of 5 chains. So go here and do a picot, single crochet, chain 3, and single crochet into the same chain. We're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Picot stitch into the middle chain within the next line of 5 chains from the previous row. Here. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We see that we are passing the last picot from the previous row. We're going to go into the third chain to the left of that last picot, 1, 2, 3, and do our last picot for this row. To close out, we chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 2 chains, and treble crochet into the third chain here. Like so. Moving on to the next row, we're going to turn our work and do the same exact thing. Chain 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Next, we make a picot in the middle chain within this first line of 5 chains from the previous row. So that's this chain right here. Picot. Chain 5. We make a picot into the middle chain in the next line of 5 chains. Chain 5 again. And then picot stitch into the middle chain of the next line of 5 chains. Chain 5. We're passing the last picot stitch in the previous row, and then we picot into the third chain to the left of that last picot, right here. And to close out the row, we chain 5, skip 2 stitches, and treble crochet into that next stitch, which should also be the 4th stitch from the left. So that's all there is to it. We continue repeating this pattern until the triangle grows to the size that you want. So again, we always start a row with 9 chains, and then we picot stitch into each of the middle stitches within these lines of 5 chains in the previous row, and we always chain 5 in between those. And then we always close out with a chain 5, skip 2 stitches, and a treble crochet. So continue repeating that pattern. Meet me back here once you've crocheted your triangle to the size that you want it to be, and I will show you how to crochet the last row so you have a neat, clean line on the top edge. And then I also will show you how to crochet a border if that's something you're interested in. All right, so I'll see you in a little bit. I crocheted 47 rows, and this is what my triangle is looking like. I'm liking the size. It fits over my shoulders comfortably as a shawl. It also fits comfortably around my waist as a belt or swimsuit cover-up, so that sizing looks right to me. Once you've crocheted your triangle to your desired size, we can move on to crocheting the last row. For our last row, we're going to make a clean edge up here with no picots, and we're going to stop extending the sides outwards. So to do that, we're first going to chain 1, and then single crochet directly into the same stitch. Then we're going to chain 2, then single crochet into the third chain within this first line of 5 chains. Then chain 5, and single crochet into the third chain within the next line of 5 chains. Chain 5 again, and do the same, single crochet into the third chain in the next line of 5 chains. This is really similar to what we've been doing, however, we're not creating a picot. And we're just going to repeat that until we get to the end of this row. I've made it to almost the end of my row here, and you can see that I've done 1 single crochet in between the second to last and last picot stitch from the previous row. I'm going to chain 5, 4, 5. I'm going to pass this last picot stitch from the previous row, and I'm going to single crochet into the 3rd chain to the left of that last picot. So 1, 2, 3, go in here, and I'm going to chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and do a single crochet into the 3rd stitch, like so. And that is all there is to this final row. As you can see, we now have this clean line at the top of our shawl with 2 clear points. You can't really see from here. This is what it looks like. If you like the way these clean edges look on your triangle, then you can cut off your yarn and move over to blocking. However, if you want to add a simple border like this with picots along all 3 edges, we can move on to the next section where I'll show you how to do that. So we've just finished our last row where we built this clean edge on the top of our work, and we're going to simply turn our work like so. So the top of that clean edge we just built is now this way, and this is the side of the triangle, and we're going to work along the side now. We're at the edge of our last row, and we're going to chain 3 and single crochet into the same stitch, making a picot stitch at the corner here where the top of our last row meets the side, like so. And then we're going to work along the side of the triangle this way and single crochet along the edge and add picot stitches where we want. I'm going to add my picots where these chains meet the edge, but if you want to add picots in the middle instead, that is totally fine too. It's all customizable. I'm going to crochet 3 single crochets in each of these spaces. So do 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to go into this space here and do a single crochet, chain 3, and single crochet into the same space so that we made a little picot right above that line that meets the edge. Do the same again, 3 single crochets along the edge, go into this little space and do a picot. So single crochet, chain 3, single crochet. And do the same until you get to the next corner or point of your triangle. So I've crocheted all along this side edge here, and I'm at the bottom corner or the point of our triangle here. So this is where we started our work. There's my little tail from my slip knot. To finish out this edge, I'm going to single crochet 3 again, 3. Then I'm going to make a picot over this point here. So go into the same space here, single crochet, chain 3, and then put a single crochet right next to that single crochet. Now we have a little picot stitch at the bottom point of our triangle. And now we're going to go up the other side of the triangle doing the same exact thing where we do 3 single crochets and then a picot stitch where this chain or treble crochet meets the edge. And I'm going to hide this tail from my initial chain or slip knot by single crocheting over it, like so. Alright, so I have done my border up on the other side of the triangle all the way up to almost the point where the side meets that top edge where we built the clean edge here. So again, I'm just gonna finish out because we have a line here of a couple chains left. I'm gonna do my 3 single crochets to close that out. And now I am at that edge where the 2 sides meet. I'm gonna do a picot stitch into that corner, like so. And now I'm gonna turn my work clockwise, and now we have the top edge, that last row where we built the clean edge, and we just work along there to close out the border. So for my top edge here, I'm gonna space my picots out a little differently. I'm gonna put them on top of the single crochets, but I'm also gonna put another picot in the middle or the 3rd chain of these line of 5 chains. You can space yours out however you'd like, but I just prefer the way that looks. So I'm gonna continue on. In this small little space here, I'm just gonna put 2 single crochets because we have 2 chains. If you remember, that's how we created that corner when we started our last row. So I'm just gonna put 2 single crochets in that small chain space. And then we're at our first single crochet. So I'm gonna put a picot stitch into that single crochet. And then we have a line of 5 chains. I'm going to single crochet 2, picot stitch, and single crochet 2 more, so that we have 5 kind of stitches here. So 2 single crochets on each side and then the picot stitch in the middle. And now I'm back at a single crochet from the previous row. I'm gonna put another picot there. Like that. And then we're gonna do the same where we do 2 single crochets into the chain space, do a picot, and 2 single crochets. Now, as you can see, I am putting my single crochets into the chain space here. So for example, I'm going into the entire space to make my single crochets rather than going into the actual chains. This is personal preference. If you want to single crochet directly into each of the chains, so you would do 2 single crochets into the next 2 chains and then do a picot stitch directly into the 3rd chain, that's totally fine too. I just find it easier to go into the chain space, but everyone has their own personal preference. So again, I have a single crochet next, so I'm going to do a picot stitch into that, and then I have my line of 5 chains, 2 single crochets, a picot, and 2 single crochets, and I'm just going to continue that pattern until I get to the end of this edge. I have made my way down that top clean edge, and now I've made my last picot stitch. I have a chain 2 space, and then this picot is the corner picot that we made to start our border. So all I have left is 2 single crochets in that chain 2 space, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the corner of that first picot that we made for the border. And that is it. We are done crocheting our lace triangle here. But of course, our project is not finished until it has been fully blocked. For those of you who are hesitant about blocking, I highly recommend blocking this project, or really any crochet project, but especially lacy, meshy patterns like this. Your project will not live up to its full potential unless it is blocked. The blocking process just helps even out the mesh laciness of it, and it'll also help with evening out the edges. As you can see, it's curling a little bit. We've already spent all this time crocheting this whole thing. Why not spend a little bit more time making sure that it looks its absolute best?